Stick around till the end of this video where you'll learn how to win $600 worth of lenses for your iPhone, plus I have one other announcement to make. Today I'm in the wonderfully beautiful and historic town of Conway in North Wales to test out Reeflex's brand new long exposure mode. Yes, Reeflex, that plucky little app I introduced you to back in May 2021, now does long exposures. And as you may or may not know, long exposures are my favorite kind of photo to make with my iPhone, so I'm definitely extra critical when it comes to long exposure mode. So let's head over to Reeflex, which is waiting right over here, and see what's what. So in Reeflex's new 1.4 update, you now have this little long exposure icon right here. So if we tap that, we then have to turn on the slow shutter mode, and we get a choice of loads of different times for the capture times, from half a second all the way up to bulb, 2 hours, 1 hour, 45 minutes, which is a really nice range. M is for motion blur, or L for light trails. So I'm going to capture this picture before these clouds disappear. So I'm going to set my timer to 3 seconds to avoid camera shake. I've got my tripod set up in a rather unconventional way, but you do what you have to do to get the picture. I want to be in automatic exposure mode. I don't care about setting my settings manually. Let's use Reeflex's, what are they called, reticles, and 30 minutes, no thank you. Let's go, let's see how fast the clouds are moving. They're moving, I can't really tell how fast they're moving, but let's just start off with a nice easy 1 minute exposure and see what's what. So I'll tap the shutter and off it goes. So while that's capturing, I want to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes. So I'm filming this right now in January 2022, but if I'd have filmed it just 1 month ago in December 2021, then in about a minute's time, I would have been switching to another app to try again because Reeflex would have let me down. You see, developers don't just tick a slow shutter checkbox, they have to actually do some stuff. And after 6 months of trial and error, the team couldn't get the long exposure mode to work. And I say the team, there's only one programmer called Salvatore, or Salvo, and Reeflex isn't even his full-time job. These are some screen recordings and test shots I captured in mid-November, and as you can see, they look bad. Really bad. So let's see if in just a couple of months Salvo and the team have been able to figure this out. So the exposure has finished, and let's see what it got. But it's not here in the little preview thing. It's not in the gallery either. This isn't it. So I captured the long exposure. I have the screen recording to prove it, yet it's not here, which is weird. So let's, I don't know, let's try again, I suppose. 3, 2, 1, and yeah, hopefully this time it's gonna save. So the exposure has just finished, and here it is in the little camera preview thing, and there it is. It looks great, but before I get into the quality of the results, what happened to that last photo? I mean, this isn't like the greatest composition in the world. I don't really mind the fact that it's not here anymore, but that's not the point. What if I was taking something meaningful? So, I mean, the only way to find out if this is an ongoing issue is to just keep taking photos. But before we do, let's have a look at the quality of that motion blur. It is definitely improved a hell of a lot. I mean, it looks fantastic. I do want to get a better composition with more clouds in, just to really get a good idea. I mean, I'm here in Conway all day, so I'm sure I will do that. In fact, it even looks on par with the gold standard of motion blur, which is even longer, and the Moment app. So, speaking of the Moment app, I'm going to open the Moment app and capture the same thing. Now, in Reeflex, I captured 1 minute. In Moment, I get 30 seconds or bulb, which isn't ideal. So I will have to stop the exposure manually after a minute. It's about 1 minute later, I'm in the Photos app, and let's compare the two results. So we know Moment can deliver the goods. We know it does that. We know it's the best for motion blur. And obviously the clouds look different, but if you compare the two side by side, like if you didn't know which app took which, there's no difference in the quality of the motion blur. I'm also looking at the quality of this white house right here. So this may not be the best composition in the world, but I've chosen it for a purpose because it has this big foreground element that should be perfectly tack sharp. I mean, I can't see any difference. So apart from that little hiccup, right, where it didn't save the photo, so far so good. It looks like problem solved. It was problem solved. I shot numerous photos over the course of the day and Reeflex performed flawlessly. There were no crashes, errors, no glitches in the motion blur effect. Plus, I don't want to understate how it can blur for longer than 9 seconds. That may sound a bit random, but in the world of slow shutter apps, it's actually a big deal because the vast majority can't. They let you choose 30 seconds, 1 minute or more, but they don't actually blur for that length of time. It'll blur for a point and then it'll just start to move across the frame. And Salvo got Reeflex to do that back in September, but it wasn't good enough. He and the team wanted proper looking motion blur, and it's not been easy, but he stuck with it, he figured it out, and I'm glad he did. So what about the light trails? Well, once it's sufficiently dark enough, just tap the M to turn it to an L for light trails, and here Reeflex delivers the goods again. It's really easy to use its full manual controls to choose the lowest ISO and the slowest shutter speed and capture some really cool looking trails, the quality of which again is up there with the best. So I'm very happy with the results I got from Reeflex in Conway, and since it's also a traditional camera app, I captured some good old-fashioned RAW files as well. And that for me is Reeflex's place in the market. I've been showing side-by-side comparisons with Moment, Even Longer and Slow Shutter Cam just to show you how the motion blur effect stacks up. But as a whole, these camera apps serve completely different needs. There were some comments on my Even Longer review saying, why should I pay $4.99 plus a subscription fee when Slow Shutter Cam is $1.99? And the answer is, well, Even Longer is not for you. These apps serve completely different market segments. Even Longer is a specialist tool for those who want the best image quality possible. Moment is a phenomenal all-in-one, and Slow Shutter Cam is a lot of fun. So who is Reeflex for? Well, if you want a good, solid camera app that also offers excellent slow shutter functionality and you don't want to shoot your slow shutter photos in RAW, then I think Reeflex will be your new favourite camera app. If Moment does too many things that you don't want or don't need, or it's too expensive, too complicated, things like that, then definitely give Reeflex a look, especially within the next 2 days as it is on offer. So the Reeflex app, the standard camera app with its RAW functionality and things like that, that's going to be free, and the slow shutter mode is going to be $2.99, but again, only for the next 48 hours. After that, it's going to go up to something. I don't know, maybe the Reeflex guys can help me out in the comments. So just to repeat that, it's a freemium sort of model. So the camera app is free, the slow shutter functionality, $2.99. After 48 hours, it's going to go up to what? I don't know. Look in the comments below. Now onto the $600 worth of lenses you can win for your iPhone. So it is Reeflex's own Pro Series Lenses plus the metal cage for the iPhone. Now my iPhone doesn't have Reeflex's metal cage on it, nor does it have Reeflex's Pro Series lenses on it, because they refused to send me them. They just were like, nah Dave, you're just not important enough. We just don't care about you. No, I'm just joking. It's a shipping issue, apparently. So yeah, you can win them $600 worth, and all you have to do is follow these steps. First, go out and just use the new slow shutter functionality to the best of your ability and post your slow shutter result on Instagram or Facebook by the 4th of March. Add hashtag shot with Reeflex, Reeflex spelled REEFLEX, in the description, and tag your photo with @Reeflex Camera. Then publish the same post or the same photo on your story, making sure to tag @Reeflex Camera. The winner will be chosen at some point within within the second week of March, and there will be additional prizes for second and third place as well. I hope I've explained that well. I will put it in the description as well if you're not sure, and I'm sure I'll be corrected again in the comments below. But I literally read that word for word as they sent it to me, so it should be right. Anyway, I love competitions like this that actually encourage you to go out and just do your best work and use the app as you were going to use it anyway, and you could win these great prizes. And plus, like the last time there was a contest with Reeflex, maybe look at some of the entries that other people are posting and try and go in a different direction, stand out from the pack. Don't just post like, the same clouds and things. And, if you do try and stand out from the pack and you don't win, then not my fault. Finally, then, I have one more thing I want to say. I'm quitting YouTube because of reasons. I think I've had a good run over the past 2 years. I've enjoyed it. It's been challenging. It's been interesting. I've made some new friends. I've met some people who I wouldn't have otherwise met. I've learned a load about filming and video making. Maybe not that you could tell from the quality of this setup, but I've actually learned and improved a lot. And I've loved it when I've received comments and things where people tell me, I've learned so much from your videos, I've discovered this app because of you, I tried this because of you, and it's just great, it fuels my ego. No, I'm joking. It warms my heart. But yeah, it's going to be no more. If you were thinking of subscribing, maybe don't. I'm not sure when the next video is going to be, if there's ever going to be one. I'm honestly not sure at this point. I just need to step away for reasons, as I said. And if you're currently subscribed, then I don't know, you can hang on if you want. I don't blame you if you unsubscribe. That's entirely up to you. But yeah, that's it. So good luck in the Reeflex contest. And honestly, just like a side note on the Reeflex guys, these are seriously good guys who care about quality. If it was, they would have they hung on. They wanted to make this new motion blur the best it could be. They could have released this app back in September with just the 9 seconds, like I mentioned. It was working. It was ready to go. I've been testing it and communicating back and forth with them for all this time basically. And no, it just wasn't good enough. They care about you. They care about quality. They want the best for their users. These are seriously good guys. And if they weren't, I wouldn't have made this video. My previous video would have been my last one. That was the one that I planned to go away on. But I've made this one because I like them. And, take that for what it's worth. So, mulțumesc frumos și poate ne vedem curând. Nu știu